Oh, buddy. Oh, welcome to Inside the Game. Nate
Man,
has
yet
muted
again,
his
welcome
mic.
in.
Why do you keep doing that?
I don't know, man. So it was one episode. I forget which one it was. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Uh, I probably shouldn't be saying this because I know that someone's gonna hear this and be like, "You did what?" But it was water under the bridge. No one heard it in the moment, but it was a commercial break, and we were supposed to be coming back from commercial break, but I think you might have looped the breaks or I forget what happened, but we weren't on screen. And I dropped an oh shit because I dropped something off of my desk. I forget what. I think I knocked like a glass or something off my desk. And I listened back to the episode later, and I very clearly in the background hear oh shit in the middle of a commercial break. So I just assumed past that moment that they could always hear me. So that's why sometimes I come into the show and the mic's not turned on. So yeah, another slow start here today, but welcome back into Inside the Game. Nate Wangler alongside
Inside the Game.
Ryan Glinsky.
With Ryan Glinsky and a muted Nate Wangler.
He's muted Nate Wangler in a pantomiming. If you can read my voice or read my lips, and then go ahead. But getting into things here today, Ryan, it has been
do that.
Right. But man, what a wild week it's been for all the hockey players returning back to the U.S. to play, whether that's the Professional Women's Hockey League, obviously just started up this year, and the NHL players who, notably yesterday, some of them looked really good. Some of them looked natural upon their returns. Others didn't look so great. I saw Jack Hughes fall, I think, at least 3 or 4 times. My man just looked lost on the ice, but I think some people probably have a little bit of patience for that, given what he just did. OT winner against Ottawa last
breaking the Red Wings record for most overtime goals in a single season.
Yeah, most overtime goals for a Red Wing, and I think you got to give Larks a little bit of credit, man. I mean, I know that your prediction there for a while going into the Olympics was that he was just going to be a face on that team, but I thought he did really well, and clearly he's starting to hit his stride for the Wings too, which is really good to see because we got to make sure that. Yeah, that's true. And that team has to sustain what they're doing, because I always feel like there's that feeling kind of in the back of your head that you're like, this Wings team, they're great, but I really don't want them to just fall off at the very end, because I could also see something like that too, where all of a sudden we go on a run and they put us in a bad position. So anyways, interesting. A lot of those players in their return to their return to normal life after
other than Austin
a heroic effort at the Olympics. Yeah. Some of them got booed, and that is Austin Matthews' experience.
Great
in Toronto. One of my favorite responses to that golden goal was Toronto fans being like, "Hey, Austin Matthews actually won something," and it's like, yeah, he finally found a way to break through and be a champion. And that was funny because Hughes, even in the post game interviews, like, he's a champion now. He can only be known as a champion, simply known as champions.
And AKA Hughes is like this.
The quote, Jim Harbaugh. One more of these, please.
Hey man, I would
it is.
Thing.
It is a unique experience being inside of a locker room after winning a championship. It's something that's different, and I hope that everyone gets to experience it in one way or the other, whether you be in media, whether you be on the team, whether you be a coach. It's a side of them that you just don't get to see, because especially being a professional athlete and with these guys coming up through the development program the way that they did, life is all business. The number one goal on your mind is getting to the next level, succeeding as a professional. Even like some of these high schoolers we had on like the Whitecaps last year when we did it, like as high schoolers, like they didn't really achieve anything. They finally got to us and they went out and they won a championship. So that post-game locker room experience is something that, like I said, I hope everybody gets to experience at one point in life. But you said Austin Matthews to the Wings? You think so?
Yeah. Do it.
Is that the hope? All right.
Do it.
I'm all in on it.
Just below a point a game in the playoffs, playoff experience, great goal scorer, needs a guess in the playoffs. I mean, maybe you put Larkin on the second line instead of the first. But I don't know. Is that another score? Need him.
Yeah, veteran experience. Who right now is playing for a
hairline, but we'll take that.
Well, and coming up later on in the show, Ryan actually brought this up, but he wanted to talk about fraudulent franchises across all the different major sports. And yeah, and if we're talking about hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs are certainly one of them. Unless we're talking about the 1950s, then yeah, they were great when the original six was a thing. But let's get into our soccer conversation here. We are in hour number 1, and welcome in to everyone joining us again, weekdays 9 to 11. So wrapping up this week, we do have Tanner White joining us around 9:30. It's Tanner time. He's going to talk a little bit about our power rankings, rather, Major League Indoor Soccer. And we're going to talk a little USA Soccer as well. MLS looking for a new commissioner. But let's start off here. We're going to do on a little international flavor to open the show today. The UCL draw,
Champions League draw.
Bracket is revealed. And I think it's a cakewalk for Arsenal. They're starting off with Leverkusen, but you're saying it looks like an easy path for the boys.
Yeah. Sorry, that was weird. Yeah, no, if I'm looking at this, man, did we dodge the Man City part of the bracket. I mean, we could have ended up on the Man City playing Real Madrid in the in the round of 16 if we got through that. Could have had to play Bayern Munich again, who they already beat once this year in the Champions League, Arsenal that is. And then you get into the semifinals and maybe have to play the reigning champs in PSG. But instead, we play Leverkusen, who their entire team has been gutted from the undefeated side, and then we go into Sporting Lisbon or against Bodo, one of those two, which I made a video, and there's a Sporting fan in there telling me that it's not a cakewalk because Sporting is going to beat Arsenal. But I was like, okay, man, like, good for you, dude. Like, cool. He's like, honestly, Nate, he's like you. He in the comments, he's like, you know, I really root for the smaller clubs in these big competitions, like the underdog. And I'm like, did Nate create a burner account on TikTok or something and just wants to root for
No,
the
but that's
underdogs?
a good idea. No, but that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that just to get at you a little bit. I didn't know you were on Twitter, so
no,
shouldn't
TikTok,
have told me
TikTok,
that.
I should say. TikTok, I should say.
Or
On
X.
one of our
okay.
MSN
I thought you
videos,
said
I should
Twitter.
say. Did I say Twitter?
I thought you said Twitter, but okay, TikTok. All right. Well, I know where you are on TikTok. I won't have any issues finding you there. But yeah, man, I love the underdogs.
Yeah, what did this guy say? Like, it sounded exactly like I was talking to Nate. His name is John Fisher. He says, but we'll see. I'm a diehard Sporting Lisbon fan, but I also have a lot of passion for small clubs. Wow, Nate, looks like you made a new friend today. You got a big underdog people. But anyway, but then I look at potentially getting into the semis if they can get out, which that whole like little quadrant there in the bottom right, if they get out of that, they go into the semis to play. I mean, I ain't scared of either one of those. Maybe Barca, but Barca's got to go through Newcastle, maybe against Atletico and Tottenham. But then I look at look at the whole left side, like back to the left, the left bottom left, I should say. If you're Man City or Real Madrid, you have to go through. If you're Man City, go through Real Madrid, probably Bayern Munich, and probably PSG. You got to go through 3 top sides to even get to the final. And eventually, you'll probably run into a Barca or an Arsenal or Atleti in the finals. But this is also the reason of why they extended it to 32 people, and there's a knockout actually. So it makes the round of 16 a little bit easier than in years previously past and previous years, just because of the whole expanded thing. And again, the same conversation, expanding playoffs, expanding this and that in sports, and it doesn't always result in the best games. Some people think that, but more games doesn't always mean that. But no, I'm looking at Arsenal. There should be no excuse they can't at least get to a minimum of a Champions League semifinal. No excuse.
Yeah. Well, and the other part of expanding the field, right, is that you're going to play lesser competition, but it also could curate and create a situation like you're saying where the path is just far easier to get to the end. I mean, you know who you might face at the end. You might have a Man City, you might have somebody, but again, this is giving you the best opportunity to win a couple of games. All of a sudden, you're in the right situation. And that's, a lot of the different projections that I'm looking at right now, and the odds are that Arsenal is going to be the team to end up lifting it. Now, the last game is obviously a big question, but, I mean, you avoid, as you said, you avoid Man City, you avoid Real Madrid, you avoid PSG, you avoid Bayern. And so until the later rounds, potentially in the UCL. So I think that's a really important thing. And it also helps with, obviously, the fact that they kind of stumbled into the tournament, too. I mean, the run of form as of late, you've made a lot about what they've looked like and how they've kind of taken a step back. And you're like, we're going to choke this thing away. I don't know if I would quite go that far that quick. But, I mean, I get the the PTSD from seeing it happen before. So
yeah, but the Champions League's different
but
with them. They went undefeated in the Champions League, which is weird.
yeah, it's true. It's
But
true.
that's
Yeah.
that's also a different style of play. And the only thing that worries me about Arsenal, Fabian in the TikTok chat says, "Hi, I'm from Puerto Rico, and yesterday Messi was here and close to the end of the match." Well, Messi sighting in Puerto Rico.
What's up?
Because of gosh, what is it? CONCACAF.
Yeah,
CONCACAF Champions
we
League.
gotta
We're talking about UEFA.
we gotta talk about that when we get a chance to. I don't know if you saw that game, but both teams wore black. Like solid black kits, and I was watching it. I was like, what is going on? Who is who?
It's like the
I'm
Astros
amazed
and the
that
Tigers the other day in spring training.
Yeah.
Orange and orange. Which
like,
they're not off to a hot start. I'll tell you that. The Tigers in spring training.
Yeah. Yep.
Not good. And then they knocked Messi to the ground. Super embarrassing. People ran in with no security. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, people ran onto the field. So that's what, like, number one, we got two teams in black, so no one knows who is who. And then at the end, you have players or fans running onto the field, and they end up knocking Messi over in the process. So it was a big jumbled up mess there. So yeah, we can certainly touch on that. But again, back to what we were talking about, why security matters so much at these venues, because we don't need people running onto the field and knocking the stars over, because that wouldn't look too good for the old US of A if that were to happen in the World Cup. So but yeah, we appreciate you dropping the live comment here.
But the only thing when I look back at this bracket is when they have to play a Bodo, when they have to play a Sporting, or when they play Bayer Leverkusen, is you got to get out to a hot start early, because then I don't think these teams, like the Premier League sides, are going to drop into a low block like they normally do against Arsenal, and that always gives them fits, because they're always like lacking that little creativity in the final third right in and around the box. But this time in the Champions League, when there's a stat out there, I forget what the exact stat is called, but the back line, the line of confrontation, if you don't know what the line of confrontation is, it's basically the offside line, essentially. But the back line for Premier League sides when they play Arsenal is like 10 yards deeper than when they play in the Champions League. So what does that mean? It allows for free-flowing soccer for Arsenal, which I don't think Bayer Leverkusen will come out in a low block like most Prem sides do against Arsenal. Maybe if they were to play a Bodo. But the difference with the Champions League and the Premier League about Arsenal is that these teams don't play low. These teams like kind of play a little bit free-flowing, and that's where Arsenal can hurt you. And that's why they've had, not great success in the Champions League, but they've made a couple runs at it the last two seasons, losing to who they lose to. That's the PSG last year, and then the year before that, who they lose to? Oh, Bayern Munich. That's who they lost to the year before that. So no, they're definitely used to that. But it's just like looking at it, like this is. If you were to tell me this is what a Champions League bracket would look like 10 years ago, I'd call you crazy. Like there is no there is nothing crazy about this. Like there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Premier League sides in this thing. Chelsea, Newcastle, Tottenham, Man City, Arsenal. You don't have any crazy, I guess you would say, Italian sides. You have Atalanta, but there's no Milans in this thing. Then you look at Germany, you just have Bayern. And then you look at 3 sides who aren't even in the top 4 flights, with Lisbon out of Portugal, Bodo out of Norway, and then Galatasaray out of Turkey. And then you have the 3 normal La Liga sides. But, like, this is what happens when you expand the field. Like, it's not as great as it is, and it's just crazy to think that this is what the bracket looks like. It looks weak, and it's just it's a little disheartening, I guess, to say a little bit. Oh, I forgot to mention PSG, but PSG's normally in this mix anyway. But, like, I don't know if the level has dropped off, but, like, the level of teams, it feels like, is definitely dropped off. Fabian also saying, I went to the practice the day before, and they gave free tickets to the underprivileged and then respected more than the people that paid for the tickets for game day. Wow, that's pretty sweet down there. I didn't know.
That's awesome.
I didn't know clubs and teams around this world have a heart.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah, and it's. I mean, I love that they were willing to do that, and they wanted to get them out to see someone like Messi. That's great. No, and that's actually really cool to hear. No, I'm really happy about that. No, I mean,
what was the score yesterday? It was a friendly yesterday. It was not CONCACAF Champions League. I thought it was.
Okay.
Because I saw Philly playing it yesterday. That's how I saw all the Kevin Sullivan stuff. So I thought
Yeah.
Oh, they must have played in it too, but that was just a friendly, I guess, against Fabian, you may have to help me here. Independiente del Valle? Del Valle? I don't know. You're gonna have to give me the correct pronunciation on that, Fabian.
I
Yeah,
think
you're
you
gonna have
did
to give me the
well.
correct.
I think
Hopefully I said that right.
I think that's close. But
Independiente. Wow, Independiente del Valle. I hope that's right.
Yeah. What I will say is that the impact that Messi has is crazy. Depending on where you bring him, it is wild to see. And I know that Inter Miami obviously is capitalizing off that. And we'll talk a little bit more about Major League Soccer coming up later on today. They're looking actually for a new commissioner. The commissioner stepping down has been with the league since 1999, and so
Fabian
the
said I was
MLS kind
close.
of at a
Said I was close to it.
crossroads.
Appreciate it.
All right. Did he
gave
give
it
you
a shot?
Close? All right.
Yeah.
Close.
I didn't realize,
close enough works, I guess.
I didn't realize that that friendly was postponed like a couple times. It was supposed to be played before the season. At least that's what I'm reading. But no, that's what the Messi effect does for you, man. Like,
yeah,
you go. It's like LeBron. It's like LeBron. Even though I don't like LeBron, and it's just like you still. Everyone talks about the economic impact that LeBron has on a city, I guess, whenever he comes to town, if he plays, because majority of the time he ain't playing. Because my legs hurt, my back hurts. I'm LeBron. I'm a freight train, but everything hurts. But no. Yeah, no, that's great. Great to see that Messi impact in other areas of the world.
Yep. It's the world tour, if you will, and I think we're going to see more of that. Obviously, as he gets towards the end of his career, and I mean, Miami knows what they have, but it's certainly a crossroads for Major League Soccer, and we'll talk a lot more about that. But yeah, with as it pertains to Arsenal, I mean, I am curious. I know that we're coming up on 20 minutes in here. By the way, Tanner White joining us at 9:30, so we're going to talk a lot about Major League indoor soccer. Why is it that they play differently in the Champions League though? Like if dropping further would help them beat Arsenal, why not? Like, is it just the way the league is played? It's just the way teams play in the league?
I think it's the way that the Premier League set up, period. I think a lot of teams practice that. No, it's a good question because honestly, I don't even know. To be honest with you, it's just I think in a league setting, you kind of want to remain in your league. Yeah, the Champions League is yes, the Champions. Jeez, I can't talk today. Obviously, the Champions League is massively important. I understand that, but at the same time, I think maybe they go for it. They risk it a little bit more in the Champions League. And where compared to the league, if you're kind of like battling for a relegation or anything, like that means a little bit more than a Champions League group stage match or a knockout, because like you have to stay in that top flight league just to for financial purposes. Period. You don't want to lose all the money that you lose, because I forget what the money is, but when you go up from the Championship into the Premier League, you gain like $200 million or something like that just because of the broadcasting rights. But no, that's just I don't understand why it's different. I mean, I understand a little bit of like some of the teams in the Prem that they play against that plays in these low blocks are not as good as the teams in the Champions League, and they kind of have to sit in a low block period because the Champions League teams are the best. And I think also, I wouldn't say it's an ego factor, but these teams are better. They know that they're normally better in their respective domestic leagues, and they want to prove a point also. But I think they are like kind of used to like, well, we don't play like that because playing in a low block is considered soft. I'm just saying. That's why some people don't like zone basketball, zone defense at the collegiate level or anything past high school. But no, it's no, I think that's the reason, is because they want to all stay in the league. And then at the same time, these Champions League teams are much better than these Premier League sides that are playing in these low blocks. Period.
Yeah. All right. It's just curious. I mean, I guess if Arsenal has been so much better against the championship sides, then I mean that's good. I guess that plays well.
Well, I
plays
hope
in their
we're good
factor,
against championship sides.
In their
They
favor.
suck.
Yeah. But let's take a quick break here. When we come back, let's get into a little bit of mailbag. I know we like to touch on our comments that we get in our social media videos before we get into our interviews. And then obviously Tanner White on the other end of that with Major League Indoor Soccer. But first, let's tell you, FC Bayern Summer Soccer Camps, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophies. Like your city, and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com. Back in live and inside the game here in hour number 1 on the National Soccer Network, doing a little mailbag before we get Tanner White on for Tanner time here on this Friday this week and talk about Major League Indoor Soccer. But Ryan, I wanted to touch on a few comments in here, and we can get your opinion on these ones too. I know normally you're the one to read them off, and I'm the one to get all pompous and put my shoulders back and be like blah blah blah. I know everything. But I would like to get your opinion on some of these too, because I actually got some really good comments on the video about the Steve Cherundolo and his comments about how we're 70 years behind in our development of players here in the United States. And everybody has a different idea as to what that's going to look like. But there was one comment that kind of struck me as interesting. And I mean, he left a book in the comment section and I read about the first paragraph, but I got the point of what he was getting towards. But Two in Hife goes, bro, it's simple. The NFL is the way to structure football in the United States. Start off with Pee Wee League, move on to high school and college, and MLS drafts from college. This would bring ball to the hood, quote unquote, which in turn gives you the, quote, play for free, unquote, format, as well as the ability to develop correctly. So there was a comment directly underneath it that said there's no international pressure in American football, and that completely changes things. Yes, it does completely change things, number one. Number two, there have been places that have been playing this game for far longer than we have, right? So if you're getting into any field, any job field, any sports or anything, you're always going to surround yourself with people that know a little bit more than what you do, who have more experience, who are further on down the line, because they're going to teach you the things that you don't know and that you don't know that you don't know, right? And so that helps even in jobs and careers. That's an important thing to do. But more than any of that, this is what we call a fantasy, because it's not an American sport. So to just assume that it's going to run exactly the same way as every other American sport is false. And also, are you going to be the one to go out and talk to these clubs and tell them to close their doors? Are you going to be the one to walk up to the USL and be like, hey, you guys can't exist anymore. Sorry. We're just going to do college ball, and then we're going to draft from there as Major League Soccer. Also, the way it was structured does not look anything the way that it does in the remainder of the world. So that would directly inhibit us in our ability to develop and even compete or think about competing internationally. Yeah, it's a fantasy is what it is.
Yeah, real quick, Fabian says, how come MLS doesn't play in the Champions League? Well, they play in the CONCACAF Champions League. It's called the UEFA Champions League over in Europe because it's just strictly European teams. And the MLS is CONCACAF technically. So that's why there's CONCACAF, or CONCACAF. CONCACAF, shout out Pat McAfee. And then the Norwegian team is playing awesome. Yeah, Bodo is
Kafi.
playing really well. I hope we play him and beat him and crush their souls. Anyway, he also sent 389 likes, I think. So shout out to you, Fabian.
Hey!
To that comment from whoever it was, you're right. It's unrealistic. I mean, as much as I would like to say and sit there that, you know, somebody like someone from the city of Detroit, the inner city of Detroit that, you know, went to Cass Tech or Detroit King, like became a pro, that's not going to happen in the game of soccer. Football, yes. Basketball, yes. Shout out Darius Acuff right now. I know he went to IMG his last 2 years, but he started out at Cass Tech, so he's from Detroit, so I guess that counts. But no, it's just unrealistic, and the issue with it is we've tried the American way for 20 years, I guess, 1994 to just about 2018, I would say. So just about 20 years, because after the 2018 World Cup debacle, everything's kind of changed in terms of academy systems and in charge of all that. Yeah, that's changed. We can't have the American way in that at all. And we realize that, you know, the college game is great. Like, don't get me wrong, the players and the coaches are really good, but there's a slight difference between, you know, college soccer and then the academies, you know, overseas or even in America. You're playing from August to, if you're good enough, November. And after that, you don't play again until the following August. Right. And so you miss all the months of December, January, February, March, April. You're basically like a high school student at that point. And, you know, these leagues around the world don't stop in November. They're not like us where it's August to November. It's not like the NBA or the NFL where it's like, you can, for high school sports, like, you know, everyone stops at a certain time. No, the world continues to keep going. And I think that's where the college game lacks. So that's why the academies are going on. That's why there's the MLS Next. That's why there's the USL academies and the USL teams. There's a reason for that. And no, it's very unrealistic. As much as I would like to see the U.S. men's national team full of like Saquon Barkley's, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's just not the way it works. It's just not the way it's structured. It is a fallacy. It is a dream. And as someone who is, again, relatively new to the soccer space, in comparisons to others, obviously yourself and JT, who played once upon a time, and not Little Tykes, but actually played in high school. You know, obviously I was but the football / rugby / swim / other parts of my journey once I got to high school. I was swim. I did swim. I was a butterflyer once upon a time. Ryan Glinsky. Oh yeah. Oh boy is right. I was not very good, but I was in shape.
Did you wear a Speedo?
Tell you that much. Once because I forgot my suit. Because I forgot my Ugh. Man, it was a look. It was a look. But hey, as a theater kid, I guess I wasn't afraid to get up in front of people.
You did theater too?
And
I didn't know that.
I did theater, man. Oh yeah. You ever seen Annie?
No.
You ever seen Annie? You've never seen Annie? All right, that's a classic. You gotta see that one. You were in what? You acted too?
One time in middle school, I was in drama class.
Ah,
I played. Okay. I starred in one play. I didn't star. I was like an extra, like a
High School Musical.
No, it was. I forget what we were. Yeah, I forget what it was. Like we were like toys or something, and we didn't work properly until like we found ourselves, and then we worked. So yeah.
Okay. That's a wholesome story right there, man.
Yeah, never acted again.
That was it. You retired after that one.
Yeah,
acting is fun, man.
Let's
Tanner, we got Tanner here.
Yeah, we'll revisit these comments after the fact. Tanner's smiling on there. He's excited to get going. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll get back. We'll talk we'll have Tanner time with Major League Indoor Soccer right after this.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Welcome back Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Getting into, you know what time it is. It's Tanner time here on Inside the Game. It's Friday. Let's talk a little Major League Indoor Soccer with our buddy Tanner White. What's up?
What's up, Tanner?
Hey, good morning, guys. So glad to be back again. Are we still workshopping the name there of Tanner Time?
I don't know.
Are we?
John basically told us
We
it was
got to
Tanner
pick it
time,
up with
so
Yeah.
Boss Man at some point here.
we can change it to something else.
Boss
I'd say
Man actually
something on
told
the
us
docket.
Tanner time. We kind of rolled with that one, but, you know, they like the idea.
All right. Well, we'll discuss that on the line.
Appreciate you having you back in though. We were taking a look a little bit, chatting about the standings inside of Major League Indoor Soccer. I know we want to talk about the power rankings here today, but it seems like we're getting to that point where contenders are starting to separate themselves from the pretenders. What have you seen recently in both the leagues?
Yeah, very exciting time as we have our very first clinch from last weekend. Congratulations, our neighbors from the north, Toronto Canadian Crusaders. They still look like the class of things. What do I tell you guys about this goalkeeper, Phil Zendelik? That guy he would be the top striker on most teams, and he's the defending goalkeeper of the year. It's insane what the guy's still doing. They're one of the most technically sound teams. They're still looking down at Amarillo in the south, and Amarillo hasn't quite clinched yet, even at the 8-0 mark. And yet, when those two meet, I cannot tell you, guys, what we could see. That's still, if I had to take a guess, that's probably my championship prediction, that those two are going to be out front the entire way of their conference and are probably going to meet in that final. But Cleveland could always shake it up. The second spots in both conferences are still open. And on that MLIS side, yeah, you tell me you know what's going to happen right now, I'd say not a chance because I don't. And I watch all these games all the time. On
Tanner,
the women's side, of course.
Go
on.
Tanner, you had a chance to do a couple games this weekend. What'd you see from women's side, obviously? What'd you see from the women's side this weekend?
Yeah, so those games in Kalamazoo, we did another one of those little round-robin weekends. Chicago, I mean, they picked up where they left off. Kalamazoo, they were a winless club, here's the thing, coming into the weekend, and then ended up getting a forfeit from Albuquerque. So they did meet a pretty formidable New Jersey squad. That team played well over the weekend. Again, they played on Saturday, and Chicago took them down. But 2 huge wins on Sunday for Jersey makes everything over in the East there a lot more interesting. They are even in points right now with Fort Wayne, and you start to think between those two, it's really going to be tough because you've only got the one head-to-head matchup between them. That tiebreaker is probably going to fall to Jersey if those two should finish up even. And Fort Wayne knows, well, shoot, we got Chicago 3 times down the line here, and we probably got to win, at least one of those and maybe pick up another point somewhere. I really did see a lot of good from Jersey, and there is a great chance that they now could get into Vegas with just that performance and winning those really 2 crucial games against Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne.
You were talking about on the men's side, you're talking about Zendelik, and I think it's interesting that you can be both probably the best goaltender in the league and also one of the best goal scorers in the league. It's we talk about the comparisons with hockey, and obviously we just got done watching the men's team and the women's team win gold. But Hellebuck, for as good of a goalie as he is, he's not out there scoring goals as well. I feel like having someone who's as good of an athlete as that, who can do both, who can make the saves, who can go out and score, is really the difference maker for these teams. I feel like he's the star right now in Major League Indoor Soccer. Like if there was a face of the league, I feel like he would certainly be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely with you on that. Everybody could say, oh, well, maybe it deserves to be the leading scorer. And for all the world, that looks like it's going to be Rafael Tobias in Orlando.
Who's very good as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, right? I mean, he had gotten way out front in goals scored. I told you Orlando had that front-loaded schedule. And so it was Tobias and then, a million miles and then anybody else behind him, as Orlando still got just the 1 game left and they're ahead of everybody, sort of chronologically in their schedule there. But, yeah, I think if I had to pick one guy who I'd say, first of all, I think a goalkeeper can and should win MVP here for this season for everything that we've seen from Zendelik.
Yeah.
And second of all, his team is dominating everybody, and he's a huge part of it on both ends. I think it should be Philip Zendelik.
Yeah. You feel like they've built a good roster around him too? Because I feel like he's kind of the centerpiece, but they seem pretty deep in all the other positions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What you've seen with Toronto is when they do have to change their lineup up, when they have to play guys in spots maybe that they're not as used to, or they have to, go to a reserve keeper. They have a combined shutout this year with Zendelik and their backup keeper John Smits. They don't miss a beat. Defensively, they're as tough no matter what bodies they're putting out there. Their foot skill is still incredible beyond Zendelik too, and they just haven't been pushed all that much. Fort Wayne was one of the closest, and that's a winless club, right? That game was 8-5 a couple of weekends ago, and you're like, oh, well, wait a minute. The Fort Wayne's there kind of making noise, and that team plays real hard. But if I had to pick a deepest team too, it's probably Toronto, and that always gives you a chance when you get to playoff time.
Yeah.
Tanner, I always have like a tactical question, I guess, when it comes to the indoor game because, everyone loves the outdoor game. Maybe we'll change it to like tactics with Tanner instead of Tanner time. Maybe we'll do tactics with Tanner. I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll figure it out. Would you say in the indoor game it's maybe more a little bit on athleticism and speed rather than like, setting up your team tactically as if it were an outdoor game?
Man, it's tough. It can be. You do see some outdoor players where their conditioning might actually struggle a little bit because of kind of the level of sprint and the top explosiveness that you need. And so there are some fantastic outdoor players who struggle to make that transition a little bit when you don't really have a lot of this indoor background and you just haven't really been so exposed to it. Now, it can be overstated for some. Some make that transition completely smooth and flawless, and some have been playing the indoor game their whole life too, and they get their touches throughout the whole off season. It's tough to say to me because I think it's on a real case by case basis. I'm going to cop out and take the politically correct answer. But every once in a while, there's somebody that you kind of identify them on film and you say, this is an outdoor player playing indoors.
Yep. Yeah. And it's I imagine. So just a very quick technical question. I know I want to get more into the weeds on this. What do line changes look like? Is it like hockey? Do you do it live when you run to the boards and then someone else jumps on, or is it more like a stoppage and play and then you change who's on the pitch? I'm curious.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad that you started with that. Sometimes we do have to get back to basics. Yeah, so you can have live changes during play. You can go, the whole 5-for-5 at a stoppage if you need to, but you'll usually see, one or two coming on at a time. You'll certainly see sometimes a player will signal. They'll give you, the universal head tap. Hey, coach, I need one. And again, that might be just because you're gassed, or it might be something schematically that you want to change. But yeah, you can't do those live during play. You can pull the goalkeeper during play. That's always fun. Go for the sixth attacker and bring them on, and they'll wear a penny or something like that to just signify that they are that sixth attacker and not a goalkeeper. It happens so quickly, and to the point that we've actually had some too many player penalties when somebody's just trying to burst through that gate. It might get on a little bit early. You can get hard for that.
Wow. So I guess I am curious, since we're riding the high of the Olympics right now, should we make indoor soccer an Olympic sport, maybe so we can take another sport away from Canada if we get the chance?
Absolutely. Yes, please. They can't have it that good for that long. You know what I mean? And that Toronto soccer scene, ironically, awesome. They host a bunch of tournaments over there with great teams, and it's like, all right, so we're coming for you. Let's have it. Let's have it on the biggest stage in the world.
Let's do it.
Would it be winter? Would it be a winter sport?
I mean, I think so, right? So you can play indoor any time of the year, but why wouldn't you have it in the winter? Again, to spite the Canadians, right?
Okay.
Yeah, 4 for 4.
That's right.
Real quick, Tanner. Which one do you want to do your power rankings first? For the men's side or the women's side? What would you like first?
Yeah, let's start on the women's side.
Women's side? All right.
Sure.
Let's take a look at these for you. You got
I
Chicago
tried making
Mustangs
a pyramid, but like it wasn't working, and I was just crashing out about it. So I just
yeah,
listed it for
something
you.
that might be more trouble than it's worth sometimes, but I appreciate you.
But go ahead, give us your breakdown on what the table looks like. I know you talked a little bit about your favorites. Obviously, Chicago has looked great, and the Uprising have looked great as well. But just some of your opinions on those power rankings on the women's side.
Yeah, we'll do. I think Chicago continues to be the class of things. This club has never lost. You know what I mean? We're a full season and a half in. The most that they've ever been pushed was last year in the championship game against Fort Wayne. They still won that one 8-7, and they've just exactly picked up where they left off here. They rotate multiple goalkeepers through, everybody playing well there. Stephanie Nunez, what do I always tell you about her? The reigning MVP, the all-time goal scorer, the all-time point creator in the league, and has not had to be the focus on the attack in any way. I do still think that she's one of the best attacking midfielders I've ever seen in my life, and yet just can take that back seat because everybody else still produces at a high level for that team. And again, no matter what goalkeeper they've got in there, they're performing really well on that. Utah just took down Phoenix again at home on Sunday.
Some great goals in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a ton of highlights to it too. But man, as you're sitting undefeated 5-0 there, they're almost gonna lock up, by a week or two from now, that top spot in the West, and then it's almost certainly gonna be Phoenix that catches them. And so I think you have to have those two as your top two out of the West by a whole bunch, and that puts them 2 and 3 in my list. I'm telling you, it's really close between Fort Wayne and New Jersey. These two, I kind of flip-flopped on. I went back and forth a little bit because you saw Jersey with the head-to-head win over them in Kalamazoo. It became a really tough decision for me. Now, Fort Wayne, you see it there, 4-2 so far on paper. They do kind of have to beat Chicago at some point here, right, in order to get in over New Jersey and maybe beat them more than once, or at least take them to overtime a couple of times and stack some points there. I think 19 points is that magic number that'll get them in. And so, are they going to be able to do that? We haven't seen it. Again, nobody has touched Chicago. They're undefeated all time in this league in a year and a half. So, I don't know. That could certainly flop before we get to Las Vegas for that championship weekend. But that's why those two sit right in the middle there. Las Vegas, man, they looked incredible in that Las Vegas weekend, just 3 weeks ago. And now kind of a little bit quieter. The pace and the shock of some of these indoor rules hit all of those teams that were playing in Las Vegas, and now everybody's adjusted and they've gotten the feel for it. And now they're towards that bottom of the table, but still at the bottom there you have Albuquerque, New Mexico Lightning, had to forfeit a couple of games from Kalamazoo, and then Kalamazoo themselves, the host club from last week, with just the one win picking up on the forfeit, playing everybody tough, playing everybody tight. They're super, super physical, and that has caused them to rack up some fouls and some cards and things. But on any given Saturday, any given weekend, they could still hang with any one of these teams, and they've got an interesting matchup with Chicago. They got to go there this Saturday, and if they want to be the first ones to upset Chicago, well, then we can start talking about the whole rest of the league and what they might be able to do too.
Yeah. I feel like any given weekend should be the motto for Major League Indoor Soccer. I feel like that's a good one. Could lose any given weekend. Yeah,
I could
like
go
it.
and put that on the website right now.
No lead is safe. I remember that one. My first game I watched, it was like 6-1, and then all of a sudden they were losing. Crazy. How about the opposite side on the men's side? Who do you like? What have you been seeing? Your rankings and your reasons for that.
Yeah, we'll blast through this one too. So the two that have been the class of the league and that seemingly will continue to be, Toronto's already clinched. Amarillo is essentially there. Cleveland, it's interesting. They lost 2 at a bad time. Told you all about that. Rockford being one of those that kind of really made people recoil, and they said, "Whoa, what's going on here?" But they are real close to clinching. You do have Chicago still in the mix there on the North Conference side of things. And you start to think, well, yeah, that could happen. Chicago's won 3 in a row, and they're hot right now. They picked a really good time to do that. And then Pittsburgh's still in contention in that 4th spot in the North. And so that's why you see Pittsburgh there, Bridge City, in the middle of the table overall. But over on the North, you thought, yeah, well, they can stick around and still make noise. They probably got to win out, so you never know. But that's a lot to talk about. Orlando, what do we tell you about them? Been out front all year long, man. And yet they are still not locked in. They just happened to play 11 out of their 12, packed in a lot closer. And they got one more with Dallas. You presume that they'll win that, pick up those 3 points. That's all well and good. But you can't guarantee that Utah won't come and catch them. That Utah team on their men's side, their women's side, both real technically skilled, and they're going to have a chance. They've just got to continue to win, and then they can certainly catch Orlando, and they could be heading into Vegas. But your top 3 that's probably not going to change for me at any point. And it's highly, highly likely that we're going to see all those 3 in Vegas. The only other question kind of Is it going to be Atletico Pro there out of Orlando, or is it going to be Utah catching them for that second spot in Vegas? Lansing, what do I tell you guys? Red Cedar FC, that club plays everybody really tough. They just quite got eliminated last weekend. It's like, well, that was a really tough game that they had to go and play in Toronto, and nobody wants to play there in Toronto, whether we want to admit it or not. So, no, absolutely not, right? Just making the trip there is kind of tough, and then you see the weather forecast, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm sick that day, coach.
Yeah, and they're all mad at Americans anyway
Yeah.
now, so sorry, we beat you.
Yeah, they don't like us to begin with. But I got to say, I love the nicknames, man. I wish more sports were like that. Crusaders, Bombers. I'm just saying, they got some cool nicknames in Major League Indoor Soccer. But I appreciate you breaking down those power rankings for us. Anything else you want to leave us with in terms of Major League Indoor Soccer and what to look forward to coming up here in the next coming weeks?
I think the big clinches are going to be, pretty bang bang here. It's likely that Amarillo, should they be able to win this weekend, they're going to lock that up. That's exciting to, first of all, just get everybody making their plans for Vegas. Like, hey guys, this is a big trip, right? And we got to lock this now. You say the end of March, you say the 28th, 29th, but you look up and you're like, oh, that's like a week and a day from today.
Yeah.
The answer is yeah. So, the hotel's all blocked and the flight's all booked. Like, yeah, you got to get that as soon as humanly possible. The worst possible scenario is everything comes down to the very last weekend, and then everybody starts to say, "Oh, these flights are insane," and man, the blocked hotels are getting more and more packed.
Good for a media
that's
perspective, though.
It is, of course. Every single game we're playing out here really pretty much matters. Bottom of the table clubs are beating people. They're shaking things up. That Rockford and Cleveland match, I'm telling you, that was awesome. And we just don't know what's going to happen week to week. It keeps everybody enthralled. The YouTube numbers are still really good. That YouTube channel is my baby, and it's so fun to manage. But, man, that's, I think, what I'm looking forward to most is being able to clinch, getting these clinching graphics out, right? Adriana, our communications director, absolutely flawless job that she does running our socials, and just knowing who's going to be there in Vegas to allow us all to prepare for it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you as always stopping by. And yeah, I mean, from a logistical perspective, I imagine it'd be tough if it came down to the end, but from an entertainment perspective, I certainly think you guys have something going there, and it'd be nice to see it come all the way down to the end, because you were talking about, any given weekend, and it certainly has that vibe in Major League Indoor Soccer. So we appreciate you stopping by as always, Tanner.
Hey, you bet. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.
That's Tanner time. We'll workshop that a little bit for the next time you're on, but that's Tanner White here on Inside the Game.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to call. We'll have to talk with Tanner and be like, what is this segment going to be truly called? I like tactics with Tanner, anything with a T, Tanner. Right? That's got to work, right?
Yeah. Time just feels like it rhymed, but yeah, Boss Man passed that one down, so he said, "Yes, sir, sounds good," and then Tanner's like, you guys could probably come up with something a little bit more creative, which, I mean, it's fair. I'll certainly give him that. But we'll move on here in our hour number one conversation. Out as always, Tanner White every Friday for those of you looking for your Major League Indoor Soccer fix. We're also going to talk more about the USL as we get closer to the season. We had a couple of interviews. We got one more coming up next week, talking to Loudoun FC. So we'll have a chat with them.
And Atletico Dallas. I just booked them.
And Atletico Dallas as well.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Our very own Ryan Glinsky's been.
Tuesday's the coach. Yeah, Tuesday will be the coach, Peter. Again, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, so we'll figure that out. And then this one I can pronounce on Wednesday, which actually will be live during the show. Matt Valentine, the founder of the club. So for the people who do not know, Atletico is a new club to the USL. They won't be playing this season, but they will be in the USL Championship in 2027. So I wanted to see if we get the founder on, just to hear the story about the club, what he's trying to do, and what he wants to bring to the Dallas area. Because let's be honest, everything's bigger in Texas when it comes to football. Maybe not so much soccer. Yeah. So we'll have to talk about that.
Still a hotbed there, I'm sure, if he can take advantage of it. But let's tell you a little bit about Barca Academy, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30, and that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I see my son grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
All right, inside the game.
Man, again.
Jeez. I don't know why. Anyway, your buddy Schrock has Schrock, I don't remember his name. He said Tanner's indoor
Schrockton?
insights. I like that.
Nice. Good job, Schrock. Heck yeah. I knew I could rely on you. Welcome into the show, man. He talked about how he's got his own setup now. He can actually watch our show every morning, so he's one of our loyal listeners.
Shout
every morning
out.
here on Inside the Game. Hey, Schrock. All right, I like that idea. Indoor insights with Tanner. Okay. I was thinking more along the lines of rhyming something with Tanner, but Tanner's a tough one to rhyme anything with because I'm not really coming up with anything off the top of my head.
It's just
that would
banner.
go with
That's all I
that.
can think of.
Banter with Tanner. Tanner banter. I don't know. Probably
I
not.
like indoor insights, though. I like them.
That's good. But let's get into our next topic here. Again, another great conversation with him. But Kevin Sullivan yesterday, man, with his debut, 2 goals, 2 assists last night in the CONCACAF Champions League versus Force FC. They're out of Trinidad and Tobago. So I don't really take a lot away from the opponent necessarily that they beat. However, seeing him do what he did in just his first game with the side was outstanding. And obviously we saw what he did with the U17s with the United States. You made that video about him doing a Panenka in the U17
That was a popular video.
World Cup. It was a very popular video, but the kid is special. And he's got a lot of tools that he brings with him. And I think it's just kind of reinforcing what we've come to understand about this iteration of the younger side of the U.S. men's national team, the 17s, the 18s, the 19s, even the 20s. You know, we talked about Noah Kai Banks a little bit, but, you know, Kevin Sullivan, just 17 years old and doing what he did yesterday. Again, probably a weaker side playing against them, but still, you can't
He's
turn
16.
your head at 2 goals
still
and 2
grown
assists.
man.
He's 16. Oh, 16. Okay. I thought he was 17. So he ain't even 17.
He was in
yet.
the
He's 16.
U17s, but I'm pretty sure he's still 16.
Wow. Yeah. No, impressive nonetheless, as I was saying. He's still very impressive for him.
Yeah, 2 goals, 2 assists. I mean, you're right. It's not the the team that you'd like him to do it against. You'd probably like him to do it against a Man City of the world or an Inter Miami's of the world for sure. But at the same time, I mean, he's 16. He's playing against grown men.
Yeah.
I can't really hate on it because he's 16 years old and he's doing this against grown men. But 2 goals, 2 assists for the first team in Philadelphia. Now I think the next step for him is hopefully he can break into the Philadelphia Union side before he is 18. Because I know he does. I think he has the contract or a clause in his contract or something like that, where he goes to Man City at the age of 18. Like that's already agreed upon. Don't know how accurate that all is going to be, but no, it's great to see for Kevin Sullivan. I won't make a video on that because people were hating on me for glazing a 16-year-old. But you know what? Look, man, he did a Panenka. That's in a
Yeah.
U17 World Cup, to do it in any type of a World Cup environment. That's ballsy. But no, he looked good. In the couple videos, long form videos I watched, he looked fine. He looked comfortable more
Yeah.
than anything. But I mean, I just hope that in this upcoming Philadelphia season, that maybe he can get some more run in with the first team in the MLS, or whether that's the U.S. Open Cup or in the CONCACAF Champions League, how far they go.
And I think ballsy is probably the best word that you could have used to describe how he plays, because I think that's a perfect example of who the kid is. I think he is ballsy. I think he does stick his nose in there. And I think in listening to some of the interviews that he did, especially during that U17 World Cup, you talk about the mentality of the younger players in the U.S., like the groups, from where he is at 16 all the way up to 20 years old, like that kind of window, that class, if you will. The one thing that I think makes them a little bit different is that exactly, like they're more stylistic on the ball. They are more confident. They are more ballsy. They're more forward. They're more in your face. And obviously, with him getting to play, I think, with his older brother, for Philadelphia Union senior side and Quinn Sullivan, I think is a great opportunity. But there's still yet a lot to be seen. And I think the biggest thing that I like his attitude. I like the way that he leads. I like the mentality of this younger group, and you can't really convince them that they don't belong. They're too young to really get through to them about the history and what's happened with U.S. men's national team soccer. I don't really think they care, frankly, and I think that's the part that makes me the most excited, is they just don't get caught up in all of that. But the physical development side of Kevin Sullivan, is going to be something that we have to obviously pay close attention to. And is there burnout? You talked about the prevalence now of burnout because of how many games that these kids are playing. You even look at someone like Lamine Yamal. I mean, does he actually develop into the type of bona fide superstar that I believe the soccer/football world believes he can be? I think so. I mean, I know he kind of flubbed his most recent PK, but the kid is special. But does he burn out from the physical demands and the physical toll of the sport that he's playing? And everyone kind of realizing here in the U.S. that he's, after this, current crop that's going through the World Cup, I feel like he's kind of he's one of the chosen ones for the next up group. And obviously it's cool for Philadelphia Union to put him out there, because again, it shows that they're able to develop well. I mean, we just talked to Alan McCann the other day, who was a part of, their who was in Philly for the longest time, and obviously, knows about the culture and, just how deep it is there. But, Kevin Sullivan is a very talented player, but does he burn out through all of this? And so nice to see. Good start for the kid this year. I want to see more from him. I like the way he plays. I like the confidence, almost like the arrogance, an air of arrogance a little bit. But does it end up being too much for him at the end?
No, I think that's a fair point to say. I'm sorry about that. The only difference I would say is with, again, we are not comparing Kevin Sullivan to Lamine Yamal for the European users.
Yeah.
Not doing that. Those two are in different stratospheres right now. We're not doing that. Okay. But if I'm looking at Kevin Sullivan and a Lamine Yamal, maybe in 10 years, potentially, maybe we could, if he gets to that level. I mean, Lamine Yamal, Barcelona just rejected a £250 million bid for him. The only reason that I say Lamine Yamal, I think, will burn out at a younger age is because of how much he's playing at the age of 16 right now. He's playing week in, week out with Barcelona. He's playing in La Liga. He's playing in Copa del Rey. He's playing in the Champions League. And then guess what? He is one of the main starters for the Spanish side. And at 16, that isn't normal. Like, I don't think people realize how that's not normal for Lamine Yamal to be doing that at such a young age. That's why I say that maybe in 8 years or so that he might burn out. I understand the technology in this, and the nutrition in this, and the fitness in this. I understand that. It is the best it's ever been. But at the same time, the body will respond to certain things, certain ways, and it might break down in certain moments. But Lamine Yamal is an unbelievable guy. For Sullivan, on the other hand, he's not playing with the U.S. men's national team at 16. He's not. He's not playing with the first team in Philadelphia Union right now. He's not. So he's not he's training probably every single day or damn near every
Yeah.
single day. But at the same time,
Mhm.
he's not playing the amount of games. He's not playing the amount of, he's not having the amount of travel that a guy like Lamine Yamal is doing.
Yeah,
Or
that's fair.
or
Yeah.
a guy like my boy Max Dowman at Arsenal. It's really about it. But no, outside of that, I don't think Sullivan's going to burn out as quickly as maybe people are expecting because he's not playing as much.
Mhm.
Now, if he starts playing week in, week out with Philadelphia Union, maybe we have that conversation. Maybe, but not right now. We don't.
You don't think he becomes an everyday guy if he continues to produce like this? I know it's a team from Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know anything about Force FC, but I can see him being an everyday guy at some point.
He's got to do it against the MLS side. He's got to do it against the MLS sides. He's got to do it
Yeah,
against the
that's
USL sides. Yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, not taking anything away from the kid, but to be a mainstay in a team like a Philadelphia Union in a top flight in America, which some people might not say is a lot, but the MLS is an emerging league. I would say you've got to be doing it in the first team, week in, week out, in the MLS against MLS sides, and then and then obviously in like U.S. Open Cup, because that's how these youngsters get in. And you also got to train really well against the first team time and time again. Great start, I would say, to the season for Sullivan. Great start for him to do that. Hopefully that gets his confidence going. But he's going to have to do a lot more against a lot better sides than against Force FC. No disrespect to Force FC, but if he did this against an Inter Miami or a LAFC, I'd take a little bit more stock in it.
Yeah, just a little bit. And so, yeah, it will yet to be seen. I just know that, obviously we chatted a lot about him in the U17s before that team ultimately flamed out in that tournament against who is it again that just continues to beat us every time we face them? Morocco, there it is. Yeah, the nightmare of having to play that team. So, but yeah, there's just a lot to like about him. And again, he's just one of a crop of players, but I think he has just been the one that's kind of been grabbing a lot of the headlines for that younger group. But moving into our final topic here in the soccer portion of our conversation, I know we've bled past 10 o'clock a little bit here, but we are going to get to our all sports talk. Major League Soccer looking for a new commissioner. I know we were mentioning this a little bit briefly before we came into the show, but they are hiring a search firm to find a new commissioner with Don Garber's term set to end in 2027. Garber has been with Major League Soccer since 1999, so literally since just before the turn of the century. 19, yeah, I know. Cue the dinosaurs, right? And then the Jurassic Park music.
That's like
I love when people ask me
existence, is it not?
I love when people ask me when I was born, and I start with a 19, and they're like, "Oh yeah."
That's
not
my
good.
reaction to
Old,
you every
man.
time you're like, "Yeah, I was born in 19."
Man.
Damn. It's like
my body hurts.
Kevin Hart in the one interview with he was in Marvel. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm 50 or something." Kevin Hart goes, "Damn." Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's how I feel.
I remember that. Yeah. Well, yeah, my body's starting to hurt in different ways than I expected, but it is what it is, man. That's life. It happens. You'll get there here too.
I hope not.
Maybe we'll have a special celebration. My birthday does fall during the week, so maybe we can have a Dirty 30 celebration on Inside the Game. How about that?
When is it?
You down for a Dirty 30? August 20th.
Sure. Let's do it.
So we're in August. So if we're still rolling at that point, let's do it. But let's get into
like 2 weeks until mine, so we can do.
All right. Okay.
Jordan year 23.
What are you turning? You turning 18, 19?
I said Jordan year.
I'm
okay.
I know 23. I'm just busting
okay,
your balls.
Got you. Got me worried there.
No, you're good. But the MLS is searching for a new commissioner. And this is it's kind of I wouldn't say a crossroads for Major League Soccer, but man, is it an important time to find a good leader? Yeah. It is an important time to weigh your options carefully as to who you're going to bring in to be at the head of the organization. Obviously, they've done great work since 1999 with Don Garber. To get Messi to come to Major League Soccer alone, if you have a resume, that's that in and of itself can be, yeah. And David Beckham, they've done everything they can do to get all of this is my favorite saying, get all the toothpaste out of the tube, if you will. They have done everything they can to make the Major League Soccer as relevant as humanly possible. And to their credit, they've done it. They got David Beckham, they got Lionel Messi, and now it's kind of looking towards the future. Now it's a question of what's up next, because you have the World Cup coming here. You have a lot of different teams that are building new stadiums. MLS Next is getting bigger. You have the drama with Cristiano Ronaldo. You've already put in a bid to have him come to Major League Soccer. But you also have the other threats going on inside of the United States and the soccer scene. You have the USL, who I know people don't want to admit could challenge Major League Soccer, but the reality is that they're building in popularity. Every day we see it. Carlos Llamosa talked about it yesterday. They are building in the right direction. So whether or not MLS wants to admit it or their fans want to admit it, it's a threat to their relevance in the United States. So it seems like a really, really, really important time to select the right leader to go, you know what? Either we need to add another major star or we need to do something else to continue to make sure that this product is fresh and that we're continuing to make ourselves more relevant in the international scene. Otherwise, with the rise of USL, it could get pretty messy for MLS in the near future if they're unable to capitalize on what the World Cup brings here in 2026. So I don't know, Ryan. It seems like a very, very important key time for Major League Soccer to weigh their options carefully as to what direction they're going to go here in the future.
Nope, you're right. I mean, we've talked about it with the Lions. This is the critical offseason in franchise history. This is probably the most critical time in the MLS history since its existence. You think about it, obviously the couple years after the fact, after the 94, but now we're in the new modern day. I mean, that was 1994, 1993, that kind of time frame. So it's been like 20 plus years since that moment. So now what happens? More like 30. Wow, I did the math wrong on that one, that part. Oof. Gosh, that's more like 30 years, not 20. Man, Ryan, can't math today. But no, you look at it and it's like, well, the World Cup's going to be in our continent this summer. And we saw the effects of what had happened in 1994 when no one gave a damn about soccer at all. Yeah. So it's like, and we already have, some names, Messi in our league, Heung-min Son in our league. Josh Sargent's now coming over here. You can say he's a big name or not, but it's an American U.S. men's national team player. Now, the hardest thing is, though, I think, of getting, American players, to our shores. But again, I don't really want that. I want that in like 6 to 8 years when they're 30 plus. So we don't want that. But at the same time, you might have to pull a guy. We talked about that. You might have to get maybe a guy like Gio Reyna to come over here. You might. That's just someone might pay a lot of money in a bigger market. Like maybe he goes back to New York City FC. But at the same time, I think this is important. Yeah. Getting the right streaming service. I think that's important because if you think of the whole Apple TV thing when Messi first got here, like it was pretty bad originally. But no, it's I think you got to get the streaming right. You got to make sure you have the right person in charge. I kind of think maybe Garber's time is up to begin with. I know he hasn't like officially resigned or officially stepped down, but his contract's coming to an end here. And to think that we're going to be entering the most critical time in American soccer history, you might want someone with a little bit of fresh ideas. Maybe someone that's why that's why I always liked hiring, if you're in an established team, you're an established franchise or something, maybe hiring someone in an important position from the outside because they can see into certain spots, like your blind spots, I think. Like for instance, Dan Campbell in the Detroit Lions, hiring an outside hire for the offense coordinator. They can see where you lacked last year, where maybe they're a little bit stubborn about the offense line running the football. You get to the MLS, maybe they're a little bit stubborn about doing certain things certain ways, and you bring in a new commissioner that can maybe see some of the areas where like this has really got to improve. It doesn't really matter what you guys are saying, but this really needs to improve. And I wonder, Nate, because the USL obviously did this with hiring what's his name? The guy from over in England that was critical and
But
you wonder if that guy that they hire to be the commissioner of the MLS is like has done it overseas and is a foreigner, I guess you could say, and maybe ultimately gets the promotion relegation thing getting going in the pyramid of soccer. But you wonder what that hire becomes. Is it an outside hire? Is it anything like that? And especially with the emergence of MLS Next Pro, and you just wonder if maybe they go with an outside hire.
Andy, you're 100% right, and that's the tricky thing about hiring from within, because nothing changes. Like, everything stays status quo, which I think is uncomfortable for MLS, because you think about it. And by the way, Tony Scholes is the man that you're talking about with the United Soccer League that came over, that was working with the Premier League. So he's trying to put that together. So yeah, I 100% agree. I just think maybe for MLS, where that conversation gets a little uncomfortable is simply because of what we talked about, just how big that Garber has made this in overseeing Major League Soccer since 1999. I mean, we think about it, right? In 2001, right? So this is just a handful of years, really recently after the league was founded, they almost went bankrupt in 01. Like, this was almost like it started and then it almost ended right at the turn of the century. They were able to steadily turn it around. And now with the 30 teams that they have, it's a league that is valued at that well over $1 billion. 5 different franchises valued over at $1 billion. That's crazy. They're almost going bankrupt in 2001. That's 25 years to grow to that point. So it is nuts to see. They've done the job that they've done. But you're right, to that point. Okay, you've done all of that, but you constantly have to evolve in the sports space. Even in the professional space, you have to evolve. Like, this is why it's hard for like old coaches when you get 30 years down the line. The game that you're coaching is almost a completely different game than what it was 30 years ago. I think about basketball coaches who are able to successfully run organizations for a long time, and to give him credit, Don Garber did a great job running this organization for nearly 30 years. Did an unbelievable job, and he's still continuing to grow. But you need new ideas. To your point, you need fresh ideas. You need someone who looks at things a little bit differently, because you're holding all of the cards in the United States. And that's the important thing for MLS to notice, is that you're still top dog. Like, we're not in this area right now where it's like the USL is your equal and you guys are battling for the top. No, you are top dog because you have Messi, because you have a lot of other things that are going for you that the United Soccer League is trying to build to. You just need maybe some new, innovative, different ideas to take us away from the Americanization of the sport within Major League Soccer, whether that be the All-Star game and the drama that we had with that with Messi, whether it be changing the schedule, which I think is something that we haven't even really mentioned in this conversation yet.
Yeah,
to more emulate the European schedule, managing all of that, and then making subtle changes, little changes, to just make it look and feel different, because I think that's what the American fans want. They want new, they want different, they want something else other than the status quo, because the status quo is fine, but it's only going to carry you so far if you continue to go that way. So I'm sure we'll talk about who potential candidates could be. They haven't even mentioned anything, obviously, so early into the process, since we're talking about the end of 2027, but it's obviously a conversation worth having. Yeah, and one that's going to mean a lot for MLS.
Fabian in the chat said Griezmann will be coming to the MLS soon. Yeah, that's true. I think it's Orlando. I think is the team. Griezmann, like 10 years ago, was insane. That guy was awesome, and then made a big money move, and everything kind of went down a little bit for Griezmann. But no, you're right. I think that it's either going to go, again, I could see this going, like, there's no in between on this. It's either going to go with what the World Cup does for the game of American soccer. It's either going to go really well or really bad. It's I don't really see an in between here. Whether that is the MLS, whether that's the USL, whether that's youth soccer, college soccer, or even people just being invested in soccer in general. So it's going to be interesting, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's going to be a special time, and I don't really think for Major League Soccer it's nearly as much. I used to think it was about getting Americans to come back and play, and I don't think it's about that. I think it's about developing your own stars and being able to hold on to them, which I think is something hard for Major League franchises to do, just simply because those players want to go elsewhere. But this is the time. It's a critical time for MLS to make sure that they make the right decision in the right spot. But let's get into our all sports conversation on the other side of this commercial break. Again, I know we bled over a little bit. We appreciate your patience as we go through this, but we'll get into that on the other end. First, let's tell you, Man City Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network. bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. These camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. We're back in live on Inside the Game, whether you're watching us on Roku, YouTube, or wherever else. Find us online, National Soccer Network, on your social media channels. Also, Sports Nation TV. Ryan's been doing a good job holding down a lot of the all sports content on our channel. Obviously, we've been chatting about everything under the sun, and we got even more coming up. We got March Madness, got the Green Jacket that'll be coming out. We got World Baseball Classic. So it's just going to continue to get more and more fun here on the show. And obviously the World Cup, that's the big one.
Honestly, what is the hype about the Masters?
How long has the Masters been being played? That's my question. How
oh my gosh, I'm
old
holding
is
green highlighter.
the
Look at this thing.
Masters?
Look at this thing. I'm holding a green highlighter right now. Can't even see it.
Nice.
Look at that.
Hey,
That's
put
awesome.
it across like your face for a second. See if it like disguises your face. It just blends right at creepy.
Yeah, you can't even see it. That's pretty cool.
You can't even see it. That's okay.
Look at that. Can't even see my eyes.
We're having fun. Nice. Blocking it out. How long is the Masters? So the Masters, no, not how old are the guys in the Masters? Damn
Pretty
it.
old.
Generally over 35. I'm like, all right, that doesn't help me. 1934.
Jeez.
So it's been being played for a long time. Obviously, it is the most popular tournament for the best golfers there are on the PGA Tour. It is, I think it's the highest honor. I mean, it's like the Super Bowl, I guess, in football terms. I think that's what it is. I think it's just the history of just wearing the green jacket. I mean, it's similar to raising a Stanley Cup in the NHL or anything else. So that's what I think it is. I don't know. I mean, I know that you don't enjoy watching golf, which, I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the entire world, but some people
now, if they made
it, I suppose.
If they made the PGA like Happy Gilmore too, then I'd tune in a little bit more.
Well, do you watch Live Golf? Live is
Nope.
Live is I feel like a little bit more your style.
Oh, I
Like
have not.
the PGA is like we do
For
things a
70-year-old
certain way, you know. Yeah. The PGA is stuck in their ways, whereas Live is more like they're more like the shirtless guy sliding across they're jumping in the mud pile or the screaming or all that other stuff. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's special to certain people, but we'll get into ESPN just releasing their list of who they think projected starting quarterbacks for all National Football League teams. By the way, I wanted to
Fabian
say a
agrees
quick
with me.
thank you
Happy
to Luke.
Gilmore too. Shout out.
I wanted to say shout out to Luke Schrock, by the way, for joining us on the morning show here today, and all of our live viewers. We've gotten a lot of live viewers on the show today. Feel free to drop a comment if you want us to talk about anything, but thanks for dropping by. Thanks for stopping in. I know we get a lot of viewers on the show. A lot of them are after we're done recording, so you guys are great. But Ryan, let's get into this list and who ESPN thinks is going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I gotcha. Hold on, I'm trying to. Fabian told me to drop his son a follow on TikTok, but I can't find it.
Okay.
Bring Conor McGregor into golfing. Fabian says. I mean, he'd be pretty cool in the press conferences. That's what I would say. But there's only 9 quarterbacks that they like in 9 different teams, I should say, in for new starting quarterbacks this upcoming season. The Raiders are not one of them because they already predicted Fernando Mendoza is going to go there. But there's 9 quarterbacks, ESPN says. And starting off with the Cleveland Browns, the shit show that is the Cleveland Browns. And they say Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I was actually seeing that. I think we were looking at the same article. You know, it's interesting. His play dropped off a lot last season. I think we certainly saw that. The Browns are just it's a destination where quarterback careers go to die. Like, I mean, between Cleveland and obviously what Detroit used to be, it's just one of those things. But you know, this was a second top 10 QBR campaign this year. He's ranked 7th in 2021. So, I mean, there's been a gap between last time he was as productive, but their search for a quarterback has been never ending in Cleveland. So I can't even picture a scenario in which Kyler Murray really has all that much success with Cleveland. So I think it's interesting. I think some might clamor to give, Shedeur Sanders more development and more time and the ability to go out and prove himself. But we already talked about Shedeur Sanders on the show. You haven't proven anything to anybody. So I'm not sure why you would put your franchise in the hands of someone like Shedeur Sanders. But I don't know. Will Kyler Murray succeed in this franchise? I'm going to guess probably not.
I mean, I don't think anyone really succeeds in Cleveland outside 1 or 2 years of Baker Mayfield. Fabian says they should trade
maybe
Shedeur.
LeBron.
He deserves better. He actually tried to play to win. I'm not the biggest fan of Shedeur to begin with. Not just me personally. Not a huge fan of him. Probably mainly for his dad. That's a different thing in the whole Colorado. I didn't like Colorado back in the day. But I mean, Kyler Murray, Arizona's got to be moving on. They got to blow that thing up. I don't know. It just it feels like Cleveland's in a list like this every single year. It just I don't know. Would Kyler Murray succeed? I mean, the offensive line is kind of trash. I mean, Quinshon Judkins wasn't horrible. Like, the whole defense is phenomenal. Like, if the defense like from the Lions and the Browns switched over, I think the Lions could win a Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. It's just the Browns, man. It's just the Browns. I don't know. I think Kyler Murray is kind of.
I do think
he should have went to baseball to begin with. No, I think Kyler Murray has kind of ran its course in the NFL as well. I think both of that. I feel like that's just a bad mix. I feel like that's just a bad relationship because no O-line to protect them. Bad situation in Cleveland as always. I don't know. Fabian, you're a Giants fan. Shout out Cam Scadaboo. Shout out John Harbaugh. Shout out Jackson Dart and Sexy Dexy. Shout out that.
Sexy Dexy. All right. I do think the second one on this list is interesting. Miami Dolphins, ESPN projecting that Malik Willis will be their 2026 starter.
He's a stud, man. He's like the only one to come out of that draft class.
Yeah.
Maybe Brock
his
Purdy?
results
Probably Brock.
in limited time across 24 and 25, as ESPN talked about, is incredible. 86.3 QBR in that span, plus 7% completion percentage over expected, what the NFL average is. 0 interceptions. Had 3 fumbles in that stretch, but no interceptions, throwing the ball 9.2 yards per dropback. I was not very high on Malik Willis coming out of college. I thought he was one of those. I thought he was almost kind of like a man, who's the quarterback for why am I not
What
Joe
name? What team?
Milton? Is that what his name is? Milton?
What team?
Michigan. And then he transferred to Tennessee.
Joe Milton? God, let Joe
Joe
throw.
Milton. Yeah. But that's the thing. I thought he was like a Joe Milton type because Joe Milton could throw bullets. And
Oh
that
my
was the
goodness,
thing
he
about
could hit
him
an
is
arm
like
on him.
he could throw bombs. And that was Malik Willis. You know, the image of him in an empty facility throwing balls 70 yards downfield on a dime. It's like,
Cross his
hey,
body.
cool, dude. Like you're a Florida quarterback and you can throw the ball really far. Like none of that impresses me. Like you don't have players in front of you. You don't have players around you. You're not in pads. So I thought he was just a showy guy. I thought it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, wow, look at that. And then you never hear from him in the NFL because he can't do the same thing actually behind an offensive line in real time. Malik Willis has done all of that. And I think he's proven that he can be a starter for an organization and could potentially be a franchise piece. So I think this is great. I think this is a good starting point for Miami, who has obviously undergone a lot of overturn in terms of coaching, in terms of, different, personnel moving around. I mean, obviously with losing your head coach, now your entire identity changes. If my quarterback to build off of is Malik Willis, you can probably do a lot worse than that. So I think the kid has a fairly good chance to succeed in Miami.
No, honestly, I think if you're the Jets, you got to go get Malik Willis. If you're Aaron Glenn and want to save your job, I think you go get Malik Willis
that's
because
true.
outside of Mendoza, there's not really a quarterback I want to take in the first round. That's just my personal belief. But for the Dolphins, I think it's fine. I mean, Jalen Waddle's still there. Gesicki's still there. A-Chain is your running back. I mean, they got areas to fix themselves defensively, but I mean, for an offensive blueprint, it's not bad for a first-year starter. Well, first-year starter since the Titans to be on the team. But no, Malik Willis, I think is probably the best backup in the entire NFL. I thought when he was on the field for the Packers, when Jordan Love would constantly get hurt, I thought he was solid. He started a couple games, played a couple games this past year. I think Malik Willis is a hot commodity in this league just because of how well he's performed when he's had to be a starter or playing a couple of games. I think he was really good. So, but I think though the better fit would be the Jets, especially if the Jets aren't a really good fit for anybody like the Browns, but I'm just saying for the Jets and our good friend Aaron Glenn over there in New York, I think you got to go get Malik Willis if you're the Jets. But I don't mind Miami either because they got a couple of pieces. Tyreek Hill, I think, is released though, right? I think he got released from Miami, so we don't have him, but there's still pieces there.
And number 3 on the list is one that hurts my soul a little bit, but it's the reality of where this organization is right now. The Minnesota Vikings projected 2026 starter is, drum roll, Ryan Glinsky. We're gonna have a shocker here. Do we have a drum roll on there?
Oh,
I thought you were gonna press a button there for a second.
No, we don't.
Kirk Cousins is the projected 2026 starter for the Minnesota Vikings.
So
what goes
annoying,
around
man.
comes around. Kirk O'Chain's back in Minnesota to take over for the Vikings. Man, listen, JJ can't stay healthy. That's what it boils down to. I like the kid's skill set. I like how he is as a leader. I think in certain spurts last year, I mean, I remember watching that Bears game to open the season, up at my cottage, surrounded by family, which a lot of them were Chicago people. I was like, okay, all right. Like JJ is more than just a handoff merchant. He's more than just the guy who just turned around and gave it off to Corum or Edwards. Like, as much as I hated the fact that was a talking point for Michigan State and Ohio State fans to really just show those highlights of him handing off the ball.
Him turning around.
They weren't wrong. Yeah, they weren't wrong. I mean, the guy it was almost kind of, it reminded you of like Brady, like Brady was not, Michigan has never been a team that has like dominated schools through the air. They that's just not something they do. They're built around offensive lines. They're built around running game. They're built around death by 1,000 cuts, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Like that is Michigan football. Through and through. Even if they get really good, talented quarterback prospects, they typically don't play like it until they get to the NFL, or maybe they have one decent season. Exactly. So that's just not who Michigan is. But JJ showed me a lot in certain windows last year. But listen, if you can't stay healthy, best ability is availability, man. And you can't be the franchise guy if you're just going to keep getting hurt every other game. And it's unfortunate to see because we didn't see those injury issues in college. He didn't get hurt. But now in the NFL, I mean, it's every other day the kid's going down with some sort of injury. So to get a veteran presence like Kirk Cousins back in the building, to get someone who understands Minnesota and has succeeded there before, it's obviously a placeholder. We talk about bridges a lot, a bridge coach or a bridge quarterback or bridge. It's weird to think that Kirk Cousins is a bridge guy, but he is a bridge guy at this point of his career. But yeah, JJ, just you got to prove that you can actually stay on the field before an organization's willing to invest everything and make you their guy. And right now he can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he can stay healthy and stay on the field for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, it's almost like the Vikings are going full circle at this point. They get rid of Kirk Cousins. They go get Sam Darnold. He does a really good job. Sucked in the big moments against the Seahawks and the Lions in his 14-win season, 14-3 season, and then goes wins the Super Bowl. Now they have JJ. Look, man, I hope JJ works out. It sucks that he's in the Lions division, but man, if I got to hear Kirk Cousins in the Lions division again, just him being super annoying like he normally is, like his voice is so annoying, man. Like, just go right off in the sunset, dude. Like, you have like the most guaranteed money of like any NFL player right now, any active NFL player right now. I mean, you got like 30 million or 40 million, whatever it was, from Atlanta. Then they go draft Michael Penix. But man, I just don't want to see Kirk Cousins in this division anymore. His voice just pisses me off, man. Like, but no, for the Vikings, they really screwed themselves. I think letting Sam Darnold go, trusting in a rookie like JJ McCarthy after the season that Sam Darnold had. I thought maybe you trade JJ this past offseason. And, I mean, look what Sam Darnold did. Won a Super Bowl. So, yeah, no, I think the Vikings are just I think they're just pissed with themselves, and they're just trying to make this thing work as quickly as possible.
So the next one on the list is the New York Jets. And I agree. I mean, I would hate to see him back in the division. I just think he's a good quarterback. I think that's what maybe concerns me more than anything else. But the Jets projected 2026 starter, one of your least favorite, at least one of my least favorite personalities in the National Football League, outside of, I think he's right up there with Diego Pavia and Tate Martell in terms of the most unlikable quarterback prospects in my generation. But Spencer Rattler is the projected starter for the Jets.
Yeah, it's bad.
And that's not great. That's not good.
Never liked the guy, especially in that QB1 documentary. Thought he was an asshole to his teammates. Then he got benched at Oklahoma for Caleb. Transferred to South Carolina. Wasn't horrible, but wasn't this 5-star quarterback everyone expected him to be. Was getting mad that the Oklahoma fans were saying we want Caleb. And then Caleb Williams comes in and just takes a job right in the Red River shootout, or rivalry, I should say. I always say shootout because there's always so many points scored. But in the Red River rivalry, he gets benched, which I loved every moment of that because I hate Spencer Rattler. But the Jets are just in a bad spot. I mean, any quarterback they take, I think outside of Malik Willis this offseason is going to be bad regardless.
Yep. And the ESPN talks about some of the other options on here too. And I mean, out of them, obviously Cousins is there's someone that was brought up in here, Derek Carr, but Derek Carr or Cousins are not. Neither of them are long-term options.
Where was Derek Carr this last year? Was he still in Vegas?
I think so. I don't even remember, to be completely honest with you. I think he's just out of the picture. But I mean, they could contemplate a few trade candidates. I mean, you think Mac Jones, Tanner McKee, Rattler, I guess, amongst them, but there's just not a lot of options. I think New York is just kind of stuck right now. So you're right. Unless they can pull off some sort of amazing trade and go get Malik Willis, in the quarterback position, it's going to be a hard season for New York. Next up on the list, I don't know if we're going to get through the entire list. We got a lot of show left, so I'm sure we could probably just rattle on for this as long as we want. But for the Colts, projected 2026 starter, going from an unlikable character to probably one of my favorites, Gardner Minshew is the favorite to be the 2026 starter for the Colts.
Colts just have not had a consistent QB since Andrew Luck, have they? They have not. I mean,
not one.
I think 2019, that kind of time frame. I mean, the Colts were a quarterback away, I thought, of winning a Super Bowl. Minshew, I think, is just another one of these trying to plug and play guys at quarterback and just hope it works. I mean, Daniel Jones was unbelievable last year till he blew out his Achilles. And you think of the past QBs. Obviously, Philip Rivers was in there for a second this year. Riley Leonard was in there for a second this year. Philip Rivers was there back in 2020, 2021, that time frame. Anthony Richardson sucked. I'm probably forgetting another quarterback in there, but I don't know, man. It's just the Colts are just they have a really good roster. They have, but they can't get the quarterback situation right since Andrew Luck left. I mean, Andrew Luck didn't win a Super Bowl or anything, but or go to one at least. But he wasn't bad. He's a good NFL quality guy. But no, I think this is just another loop of the endless cycle of Indianapolis Colts quarterbacks.
Well, and if franchise quarterback changes everything. So I think that was most shocking about that news when he decided to step away is like sometimes organizations will spend decades just looking for a franchise quarterback that you can build everything around, because that's really where it starts. And so, I think they like Daniel Jones, but the hard thing is like it's kind of a rock and a hard place right now for Indianapolis, because you need a quarterback to start the season. But you better make sure that you have a quarterback that, number one, doesn't cost too much, and number two, can actually go out and win games. And so what's your best option? I think you land on someone like Gardner Minshew. I think that's probably the option that you have, because there aren't a lot of other cheap options, quote unquote, that you're going to get that are going to be able to be productive and actually win you games, so that when Daniel Jones comes back, and again, Achilles are no jokes, sometimes it takes a minute. Are you already out of the conversation, or are you competing and you give Daniel Jones a chance to really take off upon his return? So it is really rock and a hard place if you think about it from their perspective. The Kansas City Chiefs, Marcus Mariota? Question mark?
Oh gosh, that's right. Mahomes has got all the surgery and everything. Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's shocking to see.
Yeah,
not shocking in the way of I know why, but like it's shocking in the way of like Marcus Mariota and the Chiefs. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, he seems like a good guy. I guess it'd be a little bit.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit nicer to root for him than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, all those guys. I don't know. It's just shocking. Mariota, I mean, he's a good backup. I would like to see. I'd be a little bit more confident in this if this was like 4 years ago, Chiefs, with the offensive weapons that they had. But I mean, the Chiefs' offense this year just was abysmal. I mean, couldn't get the running game going. Travis Kelce's just a bitch. Not a really great talent at wide receiver. But they need a running back. Offensive line is fine. No, you just gotta get more weapons, I think, for Mariota to truly work. I mean, Mahomes was trying his best, and he didn't even make the playoffs with it. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind the Chiefs sucking again. So, sure.
Yeah. Well, and so the timeline of Patrick Mahomes' return could be a couple of weeks into the season, could be longer than that, could be shorter than that. I mean, but they're just going to need someone for a couple of games, if that, to make sure that they can get Patrick Mahomes back. So there's another category in here called Decent Bet from ESPN. We'll get into a few more of these. We can do rapid fire if you want. The Arizona Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
What says you?
Keep him. Dude, he was fine all year. It was good for the Cardinals.
Yeah. I think he was very productive. You don't have to move on from Murray, but with a new regime coming in, maybe they won't, or maybe they will, and it probably wouldn't be the worst of ideas to do so. Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr. I would hope so with where they drafted him.
He sucks. We talked about bridge quarterbacks. We thought maybe Kirk Cousins was going to be the bridge quarterback for Michael Penix, but he hasn't shown anything. He's lucky he's got a great running game and a great running back with Bijan Robinson, but the pieces are there. You think of a guy like Drake London as well. I mean, Kyle Pitts is a big target. I know he's not great or anything, but he's a big target. Kyle Pitts. I mean, Michael Penix. I think he stinks, but hey, maybe he's got a good third year in him.
Yeah. Torn ACL in November and a QBR below 31 in 4 different games this year. Not awesome. And I'm sure the Falcons are probably looking at that and wondering why they took him so high. But again,
he was good out of college.
We'll see what. Yeah, he was really good out of college. So still some promising, a promising prospect there. Pittsburgh Steelers, no shock here. Aaron Rodgers coming back for another year.
Steelers just got to blow this thing up. Just blow it up. Aaron Rodgers, go retire, go somewhere else for another season. Get rid of everyone while you can. Maybe TJ Watt, trade him for some pieces. I don't even know, but I feel like the Steelers have just been stuck in no man's land since like 2018, 2019. Well, I guess 2020 they were good for half a season when they went 11-0, but they didn't do anything in the playoffs. Just blow it up if you're Pittsburgh, man. Just blow the thing up.
you can only go back to the well so many times before you really get yourself in trouble. And with Aaron Rodgers, where he is age-wise, I think that's sooner rather than later. And I love Mike Tomlin, but being a perpetually 500 team that bows out early in the playoffs is not really going to do a lot for your city. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, no surprise there.
Yeah, but it's probably just if Jesse Minter now coming in. But I mean, I think if you're a head coach and you get rid of a Lamar Jackson, you're behind the 8 ball, and you're going to be basically judged on how well you do after that decision and how well your quarterbacks play. I'd keep Lamar Jackson if I were the Ravens. I know he doesn't do well in the playoffs,
100%.
but keep him in.
Yeah, well, and he missed a few games this year. Obviously, he had a down year, but I mean, you can't replace Lamar Jackson. Another team and another guy you can't replace, obviously, because he's the one making some of the decisions. That's Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, it's probably new regime. Bills can't get it done.
No.
You wonder if Josh Allen's ever going to get it done the way you think Connor McDavid's ever going to get it done. Josh Allen's an unbelievable player, but continues to suck in the playoffs, and his kryptonite was not there in the playoffs, and he lost to Bo Nix. So, yeah, you got to keep Josh Allen. I mean, he's still a solid QB. Got to keep him.
Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young obviously led him to the playoffs, had his down moments, ended the season with a 47.6 QBR, 22nd best, and only 5.7 yards per drop back. Nothing to really write home about, but still led the Panthers to the playoffs. So I think Bryce Young is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you'd be silly to get rid of him already. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick for you guys. I mean, you traded up for him. Remember, it was supposed to be the Bears that were supposed to have Bryce Young, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
No, I think you'd be silly to let him go. Is the Panthers in a weak division? Yes, but the division's still weak. So I think if you keep Bryce Young, it's basically a battle of who's a better quarterback, Bryce Young or Baker Mayfield. And I would probably still. I'd still lean Bryce because Baker Mayfield, as much as he's been in situations, he's never really won anything. So.
Yeah. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. No shock there. I feel like that's a no-duh one. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Again, another no-duh one. Toe injury derailed more than half of the 25 campaign, so we didn't get to see everything out of Joe Burrow that we wanted to.
Are these all just locks at this point?
I think these are locks. Yeah, Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Broncos, Bo Nix. No shock there. Lions, Jared Goff.
There's no reason to debate those. Those are all locks.
unless you ask some Detroit fans and maybe Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, they loved him.
Green Bay Packers. Right. Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, and Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, the one that we can finish this conversation talking about, Fernando Mendoza. Is it too early to say that it's a lock? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he's pretty much in line to be a Raider. And they need a quarterback badly. Obviously, Mendoza probably looks like he could be one of the more attractive prospects, the attractive prospect, at least from a quarterback perspective, to fill in that role. But I know you have your certain thoughts and feelings about Mendoza and what he's going to do in the National Football League, but we'll finish it off on this. But Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders, Ryan Glinsky.
Yeah, unless something crazy comes out in his draft situation, I would expect him.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't really see anybody being able to come out with any dirt on Fernando Mendoza to maybe get him to drop a little bit, but. Who knows? So that's a look at all the projected quarterbacks for 2026. On the other side of this break here on Inside the Game, we'll talk a little bit more. Maybe we'll get back into the comment section. We got a few things that we can get to on the other side, and then we'll also get to question of the day here in the final episode of this week.
Your buddy, he says, as a devout Longhorn fan, it's the Red River rivalry, but shootout sounds better, honestly. Out here influencing people.
I would agree. He is a Texas fan. He's a Texas fan through and through. He's
he
very Indiana.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's a Texas fan.
For if you're in Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything else is like more Chicago based. Like I think he's a Cub fan and everything, which is like that part of Indiana, like we said, is practically Chicago. And I know we got the whole Bears conversation. I put that on here if we wanted to talk about that, because both sides of the aisle continue to make progress towards getting the Bears, Indiana, and obviously Chicago getting a new stadium. But yeah, big Longhorns fan. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure, especially with them being in the Big Ten now. But let's take a break. We'll bring it right back here on Inside the Game. We'll wrap things up with our final topic and question of the day here on episode 239.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back live on Inside the Game, getting into our final topic here before question of the day, on episode 239. Hey, big shouts to everyone who joined us live on the show here today, or anybody who watches us day in and day out, Monday through Friday. Give us a follow on social media, National Soccer Network, as well as Sports Nation TV. Ryan, we kind of came up with this topic on the fly a little bit, but the most overrated franchises across all sports. I'll let you start off this one, and I'll just kind of follow your lead. But I do think there are certain organizations, certain franchises that have just always found a way to lose when it matters the most.
Yeah, I mean, we can always go to the college scene as well. I think the NFL, I mean, it's got to be Buffalo. They got to be up there. Dallas, probably. They've got to be up there. I think of the New York Jets. I mean, they're just trash, but they're New York. And I will say this. This might be a sneaky one, but the Bears. The Bears are such an overrated franchise. The sole reason why the Bears are considered like this great team is because of 1985. Without 1985, they're the Detroit Lions, 100%. Without that 1985 season, they have nothing to talk about. They have no playoffs. They have no Super Bowls. Without that team, like that's what they're latching on to. They're basically Michigan State fans with basketball. They're latching on to something that happened 26 years ago. Bears fans are latching on to something that happened like 50 years ago. Without 1985, the Bears do not have like any room to talk with like the football elite. Like they don't.
In college, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame.
Oh, I thought we were sticking with it. I thought we were gonna go team league by league by league.
Oh, okay, all right. We're doing NFL then. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll go NFL.
Probably gonna go if we're talking about the National Football League. Yeah, you're probably right with the Bills because they're the biggest almost organization in sports. I think if I think about like almost organizations, like what's a team that has made more runs to the end of the line and has been one game away from getting a Super Bowl or a championship and has somehow found a way to choke it away? I think the Bills are that in the NFL more than anybody else that I've ever seen. Because it's interesting when you first brought up the topic, I thought you were talking about like just futility. You know, I'm like, from a pure futility perspective, it's the Browns, but from a fraudulent perspective, it has to be the Bills in the NFL. Has to be.
You think NBA? It's got to be the Knicks, man. Like no one actually likes the Knicks.
Yes.
Like they've won 2 championships in like the 70s or something. Like they've never really been like they're always relevant, I should say. I shouldn't say they're never relevant because it's New York Knicks and Stephen A. Smith always be glazing them and stuff. But outside of that, they're never relevant. Like in the whole grand scheme of things, like Jalen Brunson, they went to the conference finals last year, but like Ewing back in the day, I think they made a finals and I think they lost to the Rockets, I think. But outside of that, like they're just an abyss all the time. I mean, Carmelo Anthony was fun. Like that was cool to watch. You know, him be like a ball hog and take 50 shots a game, but like outside of Melo, they've just been horrible the whole time. The Linsanity run, but you know, the Knicks just no one actually likes them, man. They're just trash.
I had a volleyball player I was calling a game for yesterday named Jeremy Lin. I kid you not. I
Really?
wanted this kid to do something spectacular so I could have my Jeremy Lin call. Yeah, my Linsanity call. But he ended up getting, I think, 1 kill, and that was it. It wasn't even that impressive, but awesome. I love his parents. They have a sense of humor, clearly. No, the Knicks. It has to be the Knicks, and mostly because it makes me mad because it is considered the Mecca, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
It's the most popular brand in terms of clothing. It's almost like the Yankees, right? Like wearing Knicks apparel. It's almost just like a cultural statement. You know, you're wearing New York gear. But they suck, man. I mean, the last time they won an NBA championship, literally, it's like an image of Phil Jackson with like the big afro and like the shorts that nearly go up to his nuts. Like that's the last time they won an NBA championship. So it has to be. In terms of fraudulent, yeah, there's no way it's anybody else other than the Knicks. I mean, that was a whole saga between Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless when they were on the show together, was either the Knicks or the Cowboys, and how they would choke everything away. So no, it had no one else other than the Knicks. There's no way.
NHL, I mean, the whole country of Canada, they're all their Canadian NHL teams.
Yeah.
They haven't won. When was the last time they won a Stanley Cup? A Canadian team, 50 years?
I think it was the 90s. Yeah. I mean,
or 30 years?
When
I mean, Toronto
was...
has to be up there. I mean, they're always like, they always go in the playoffs and then they just suck.
Yeah, the Oilers choking at the very end. Obviously, McDavid and his, bridesmaid, never a bride. 1993 was the last team that. So 3 years before I was born was the last time Canada had a Stanley
30
Cup.
plus years.
That's wild, man.
The whole country of Canada is just overrated in hockey.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, it's different when you talk about professionals because I mean I feel like obviously they're spread all over the place, but oof. Yeah, not great.
MLB.
Not great for them.
You'll know more than me, but the Mets? I mean,
yeah, but the Mets have always been bad. I mean, the expectation is that the Mets are going to be bad. It has to be, and I know how many World Series they have. But at least I'll just say my lifetime, with the exception of I think one World Series title, it has to be the Yankees. I mean, just how many teams can you roll out there that just, I mean, look like just absolute bruisers? I mean, you spend so much money and you put so much resources into getting the best players, and you just somehow find a way to choke it away every single time. Like the Dodgers are what you think you are if you're a New York Yankee fan. Like the Dodgers are what you used to be, and now you're on the other side of the coin, which is you can't get it done. So I'm going to go with the Yankees.
Okay. Then I think when we go to, because that's all the 4 American sports, we go over to college real quick. College basketball, I mean, Michigan State has to be up there. I mean, Purdue. Like, the issue I have with Michigan State basketball is this. They're portrayed as this blue blood program. They're portrayed as a Duke. They're a North Carolina, a Kansas, yet they have won 2 national championships since 1979. It's not 2026, guys. You've won 2 national championships. I get the Final Four of this. I get that. I get the Big Ten championships. But you know who's got more than Big Ten championships? Purdue. You know, in my lifetime, I haven't seen you guys win a national championship. I was 6 years old the last time you went to Monday night. I forget about it. Like, I was 6 years old. You haven't done that. And this whole notion of Mr. March, dude, that's got to stop, man. Like, there was a 3-year stretch where you lost to double-digit seeds as a single-digit seed in the tournament. There's a stretch of that. And you haven't been in the Final Four since 19. I don't think you get there this year. Yeah, it's a tough team, but, like, Michigan State is portrayed as this blue blood, yet I haven't seen them win a national championship. I've seen Kansas, I've seen Duke, I've seen Carolina, I've seen Kentucky. Technically, I've seen UConn win 4. So,
yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of
post that on social media.
A lot of fraudulent programs out there. I know, yeah, you were setting that one up. I knew you were. I think Kentucky's probably a safe bet. I think Kentucky, in terms of overall recruiting classes, they won one in 2012, but I mean, it's been 14 years, man. I mean, I just think that, the whole Calipari thing when he was there, I mean, that was bad. I would say Virginia for a while, but they did finally break through and win a national championship. So they were just on the receiving end of a lot of upsets. But yeah, Sparty, you're right. I mean, it's hard because you can get to a million Final Fours, but if you don't end up winning the big one, it's really hard for people to look at that and respect that. I feel the same way about Michigan hockey. Like, how the hell do we have all these guys in the Olympics winning gold, yet we haven't won one since 97? So it is. But I mean, there's certainly a couple of programs, but I always think about Calipari in the Kentucky days and just how did they not win like 5 national championships?
College football.
Anyways.
Michigan?
Notre Dame.
Michigan?
Could be.
No, I'd agree Notre Dame. I'd agree Notre Dame.
Yeah. No, it could absolutely be Michigan. I mean, obviously the national championship in 23, and that matters. That changes the conversation a lot. But since 97, yeah, I mean, my whole life was built around hype, recruiting, this, that, and the other thing, and then we get smacked around in the most important games, even when Jimbo came in. But no, I would say Notre Dame, and not because they didn't go to a national championship, but simply because of there is no program in America, I think, that is living more in the past than Notre Dame. I don't think there is a single program in the United States that loves living in the past more than ND. And it's because they yearn for the old days. They yearn for the days in which Notre Dame was the standard in college football. You're not the standard anymore, and that's okay to admit. And we're shifting everything around to accommodate you, but probably Notre Dame if I were to go college football.
All right, question of the day. Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that works. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan the QR code. No entries this week for salt bag giveaways. So let's get straight into question of the day. I know we've had a lot of hockey question of the days this week, but are you confident in Stevie Y adding at the trade deadline?
Am I confident? I wouldn't say necessarily no. I'm not confident. Should he add someone at the deadline? Yeah, I think it would be really good to add an extra piece onto this team. And I think certainly, it's the same conversation we have about the Pistons and kind of building and stockpiling ahead of the playoffs. Is my confidence high? No. Is it necessary though? Yes. I think it's absolutely necessary.
No, I think he has to add the deadline 100% because I don't want the march of the previous marches anymore. But am I confident he does? If I'm being honest with you, Nate, I'm not confident in any GM in this town adding at the trade deadline. I'm just not. I mean, there's been 2 instances where it's like, oh, that's kind of good. I think of Dave Dombrowski back in the day, that dude was adding at the deadline all the time. But I look at a guy like Trajan Langdon. He had a Dennis Schroeder. Cool. We needed it. But this year when we're competing for a championship, he didn't. I think of a guy like Scott Harris. When we were competing for a championship, he added Kyle Finnegan, who was fine. Yeah. But, I mean, probably one of our best arms in the bullpen, if not the best. But outside of that, I mean, cool, it's a bullpen piece, but we needed a bat. So I'm not confident anyone in this. I'm not confident in anyone in this town adding at the deadline. I'm just not. They haven't really given me a reason to do so. So I'm going to say I'm not confident in adding. Does he need to? 100%. But, again, Larkin was vocal about that last year, about, like, we need to add at the deadline. Didn't happen. He seemed a little bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? He was, like,
discouraged.
Discouraged, I would say. But hopefully this year, Larkin gets in his face. Is like, add at the deadline. We need it. Yeah. I got a taste of the gold medal. I need a Stanley Cup now. Do I think they win a Stanley Cup? No, but it'd be cool to make a playoff run.
It certainly would. Well, that wraps up episode number 239 here on Inside the Game. We appreciate you guys dropping by as always, especially our live viewers here today. If you left a comment or if you're watching every morning, Shraki, we see you. We appreciate you guys as always. We will be back on Monday with another conversation. We more interviews coming up. USL getting ready and ramped up for their season. Give us a follow on social media, National Soccer Network. I know we got a lot of other things going on in the network outside of Inside the Game, so make sure you check that out. But until we talk to you on Monday, it's been another great week here on Inside the Game. We'll see you then.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.